Good morning, everyone. My name is Jaysson Brooks, and I am coming to you live from the 57th annual SRS annual meeting. I'm very excited to be with Dr. Laurel Blakemore, who is on our board this year. And Dr. Blakemore, could you tell us what your new role on the board is?
Sure. I am coming back on the board this year, and I will be vice president this year and president in 2024.
That is super exciting. Congratulations. I think this is a historic year this year with Doctor Who, and then of course you're coming a couple later years after that. For those who are just kind of learning about the SRS and are wondering potentially like kind of what are the steps to get to where you are, we wanted to kind of give them that information. But first, if you could tell us just a little bit about your educational background, kind of where you're from, and kind of what's been your job opportunities from when you finished training till now. Just kind of like give us a quick summary of that.
Sure. So I trained at the University of Michigan for my residency in orthopedics. I actually had moved there from Stanford. I transferred there. And then I did my fellowship with George Thompson in Cleveland. So my original, I guess, mentors were Bob Hensinger and Fran Farley at Michigan, which was a great education. Then I went back. I was on faculty briefly in Cleveland. I went back to Michigan, and then I took the position as director, division chief at Children's National Medical Center. I was there for 10 years. That was also a great experience building a division, and then moved to the University of Florida. I was the Shriners Endowed Professor at the University of Florida, started a novel relationship with the Shriners in Tampa, so that was a wonderful experience. And then I've just recently moved back to D.C., and I'm practicing at Children's National and at a private healthcare system there, and I'm CEO of the multi-specialty peds group. So that's
perfect.
A cool experience. So we have 350 employees in all different pediatric specialties.
That's really good. So from a leadership standpoint, you're used to leading groups. When it comes to within the SRS, did you start out as a big-time leader in the SRS? And if not, kind of what are the things you really started out early on to show, like I guess, how you could contribute to the society as a whole?
No, I did not.
Okay.
I started out I think I was just coming out of fellowship. And the first SRS meeting that I really stands out in my mind was actually in 9/11. Al Crawford was the president, which was really exciting. And, you know, I developed mentorship relationships with a lot of really amazing surgeons that I hadn't necessarily trained with. And that was a really key part of my coming to love the SRS as much as I did. They were people that were passionate about the SRS, passionate about the treatment of, in my case, children with spinal deformity. So Al Crawford, Baruzak Barnia, those people really helped me figure out where I could contribute. And so I think I was on a committee member, like maybe Growing Spine Committee. I was Growing Spine Committee chair. I was Program Committee chair with Larry Lanke when he was president, which was, again, just amazing learning opportunity. Because then you start to understand not only like all the different ways that we're coming at the issues in spinal deformity care, but also how the organization works. Yeah. Then I had an opportunity to be on the board. And I was, I've been education chair, fellow, and chair of the fellowship committee, which was also like all those ways you come at it, all those opportunities to lead. It's a lot of work, but you really start to understand how a big, successful society like this functions and how we can help our members and our patients ultimately.
That's excellent. So, you know, you're starting this, you're in the presidential line, which is really exciting. Is there any particular aspect of this new role that you're most excited for this upcoming year?
I think the most exciting part is that it's such a fabulous group of leaders right now, and there's opportunities for real growth in terms of diversity. There's some amazing people in your generation that are coming up that are going to be bigger and bigger, I think, parts of the SRS in terms of their roles and contributions. So that's super exciting. And it's an opportunity for me to learn from leaders like Serena Hu and Marnus, and to work with the groups that are currently leading SRS. So I think it's a super bright future, and I think that we're really doing a much better job both in research and diversity and identifying areas where we can improve what we do. So I'm super excited.
Excellent. Well, congratulations, Dr. Blakemore. I'm not just excited, but I know many across the world are excited for your new role on the board, and we're really excited to see kind of what happens in the future.
Oh, thank you.
All right. Good morning, everyone. Welcome. We are coming to you live from the 57th Annual SRS Annual Meeting in Stockholm, Sweden. My name is Jaysson Brooks. I'm the Podcast Committee Chair, and I am super happy to be here with Dr. Lindsay Andras, who is our incoming Director at Large for the SRS Board. So thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me.
And I would say this is special for me, not to sound like a groupie, but the first time I met Dr. Andras was when I was a resident, and it was the first research, spine research abstract I'd ever gotten accepted, and it was in Warsaw, Poland at ICOS. And at that time, you already had like 5 podiums at that meeting. And so it was kind of like my first time meeting her and seeing how involved she was from a spine research standpoint. And so to now see you coming on to the SRS board is really special, just to kind of see the progression of your career. So, first,
it's been great to see the progression of your career as well.
Oh, well, thank you. Thank you. I guess my first question for you, Dr. Andras, is tell us a little more about yourself, kind of where you were born, kind of what your schooling was, and how you kind of got into the field of spine deformity.
Yeah, so I grew up in a small town in Illinois. My father is a general orthopedist there, and so orthopedics from that standpoint was very familiar, but definitely a very different environment than the Los Angeles one I call home now. And I initially bounced around a little bit in my schooling, and then finished my undergrad degree at Emory, stayed for med school and residency, so was almost a lifer. I was drawn to, I think I was initially drawn to pediatric orthopedics because of so much variety, and then really fell in love with spine within that. It is scoliosis runs in families, and it runs in mine, and I didn't intentionally set out to have that be the primary focus, but I think that it probably touches me a little bit more for that reason.
That's awesome. Now, I think a lot of people may have seen your research papers, seen you on the podium, but for those that potentially may one day aspire to be involved with the SRS board, can you just kind of let folks know what are all the ways in the past that you have participated with the SRS you feel like have gotten you to the point now where now you were asked to be a director at large for the board?
Yeah, I mean, I think the R in SRS is really important, and that is, I think going to be a focus of some of the upcoming meetings too, of really putting emphasis on that, which has been our history. And so I think that makes it unique amongst some of the other organizations that I'm involved with. In addition to that, I had really great mentorship from a lot of different people, and found myself on some committees. Many of them I may have been too junior to really contribute a ton to, but I got to see how the masters did it, and have really appreciated learning at their hands through the society.
Perfect. So just from the way that I'm recapping this, you participated in committees, but you weren't just on it. You actually tried to contribute, and you just kind of did that for years, and people saw that you were a productive member of the society, and so then they decided that you're ready for this next level. Is that kind of a...
Yeah, I mean, I think I was, for example, program committee I've done several times, and the first time that I did it, I think I just kind of sucked everything in as a sponge, and then the second time around I was able to be more contributory, and then I was lucky enough to get to chair the meeting that switched to all virtual because of the pandemic, but all those connections that I formed have been very helpful in putting me in this position where I, again, get the opportunity to learn at the hand of a lot of my mentors.
Perfect. So for all those who are going to be viewing this who are not here in Sweden, is there a certain aspect of the meeting that you feel like you're most excited about?
I always, try to pay attention to the clinical award papers, but I think one of the things that I do is I try to spend more time in the adult sessions and things like that I don't necessarily see at other meetings. So we just had a great adult session in HIBS, and I think there were more things that I want to think about and see how we can apply to peds from that than many things that I've attended in the past.
Awesome. Well, Dr. Andras, congratulations again for being, I guess, promoted or nominated to the SRS board. Thank you for taking this time to introduce yourself to the society. For the rest of you all, stay tuned. We're going to have much more of these introductions for the oncoming SRS board. Take care.
Thanks so much.
And I'm really excited to be with Dr. Firoz Miyanji, who is our oncoming director at large for the SRS board. For those that don't know you already, although that's impossible because you're Dr. Miyanji, but tell us a little bit more about where you were born, where you went to school for your medical training, and what your practice looks like now.
Sure. Well, thanks, Jaysson. It's really an honor to be here and be part of the board and oncoming board. So I was born in Africa, actually, in Zaire. I grew up in Toronto after a short stint in Belgium. My medical training, primarily until residency, has been in Canada. I did medical school out in Ottawa and then did my residency in Vancouver. Following that, I did both an adult fellowship in spine and a pediatric orthopedic and scoliosis fellowship in San Diego. And I've been back in Vancouver, and I do primarily pediatric spine.
Awesome. Excellent. So I think there may be a lot of our younger members that may be looking at the SRS. It feels so big and feels so daunting, and wonder, how could I ever get to the point where I'm tapped to come on as a director at large? Could you just tell them, I'm sure, even though you've run programs and things like that, you didn't start there. What were kind of the smaller committees or the committee activities that you started out with that kind of led you, to this point?
Oh, it's a great question. I mean, the beauty of the SRS is there's great opportunity to get involved. When I fundamentally started, I saw it as our research society. So I think, putting in abstracts, trying to get accepted onto the podium, doing good research is a good stepping way. Committee involvement, we always send out a questionnaire of what committees or what's passionate or what you enjoy doing. So, I went on to the program committee for a handful of years, and then from there, if you keep being active with your committee commitments, then you move on to chairing a committee, and from there, if you're privileged enough and if you get the opportunity, then I think you can get onto the board.
That's excellent. That's excellent. This upcoming year, you're going to be on the board. Is there something that you're most excited about? An initiative that you really think you're going to kind of take hold of and lead for this upcoming year?
Yeah, I mean, it's to be honest with you, it's a great opportunity. There's a variety of different initiatives, and I want to make myself available. I think trying to represent the membership as a whole and seeing how I can fulfill that is what I'm really looking forward to. And it's a phenomenal board. We had a meeting earlier this week. I'm just extremely excited and very humbled to be part of the organization at that level.
Excellent. And, do you have maybe any final words for our early career surgeons? Last night we had one of our early career surgeon sessions. It was really great. A lot of young guys, less than 5 years into practice, who are just trying to figure out, how to best contribute to the SRS and to the field of spine deformity in general. Do you kind of have any maybe pearls of wisdom for those just starting out?
Yeah, I would say, fundamentally collaborate and network, and don't be shy. I think the beauty of the SRS is you really can reach out no matter what level or how. You can talk to Dr. Ekbernia just as much as you can talk to a junior surgeon, and don't ever feel intimidated to make that first contribution or reaching out and just shaking your hand. I think our society is phenomenal in doing that. I've been very privileged to have been able to do that. You can walk up to Larry Lenke or Peter Newton or Behrooz Ekbernia and get wisdom from the seniors. So collaborate and network and don't be shy.
Awesome. Dr. Miyanji, we thank you so much for your time today. Congratulations for this new appointment as Director at Large, and we're looking forward to seeing all the exciting things that you do this year.
Thanks, Jaysson. Thank you very much.
I am really excited to be having this conversation with Dr. Kota Watanabe because you are the oncoming Director at Large for the board. So we're kind of using this session for the society to get to really know you better. So if you could tell us a little bit more about where you were born, what your parents did, and where you did your educational training.
Mm-hmm. Okay, thank you very much. So my name is Kota Watanabe from Tokyo, Japan. But actually I was born in Yokohama. Yokohama is just next to Tokyo. and then I was also grown up in Yokohama City, and then I became I've been to Keio University. In the Keio University, I learned the medical things in Keio University, and I remember it was 1997. I graduated from the medical school, and then I started the training as an orthopedic surgeon in the Keio University, and also in the affiliate hospital. And then I started my career as a spine surgeon was 1999. And then nowadays, currently I'm chief of the spine and the spinal cord division of Keio University. And then I'm also the director of Korea's treatment center in Keio University.
Okay. So
And
in 20 years, you became the boss.
Yeah, that's right.
Okay. All right. So excellent. So, I think there are a lot of our members who may be interested in hopefully one day being on the board. And what are the ways that you participated in various SRS committees or activities that you feel got you to this point? Can you kind of walk people through all the committees that you may have been part of and the things that you kind of did to kind of further the society?
I see. So actually, I used to belong several committees in SRS, but the latest one was, I have hosted the CCSD Tokyo in 2019. At that time, I was co-chair of the course. And then after that, I became the chair of CCSD SRS. And I think that nowadays, so last year, I led the success of virtual CCSD in the midst of COVID pandemic.
Okay.
So that is my biggest work for SRS so far.
So that does sound amazing, but I'm sure you didn't start doing the big things. What are the small things that kind of,
That's right.
helped you to get there? Like, what was your first 5 committees, that you
I
participated
remember
in?
first committee was growing child committee,
Okay.
and also the research grant committee or something like that.
Okay.
So the research committee is kind of, you just check the abstract and then comment on it, but we don't have any pressure from for example, as I'm an agent from Jaysson, so the English sometimes, stress for me, but if we only check the abstract or the same proposal, I think we don't need any stress.
Okay.
And that will be fine for us to enjoy the committee.
Okay. So excellent. So now as you're coming onto the board as a director at large, what are you most excited about for this oncoming year? Is there any kind of special project or gift or skill that you feel like you're going to be bringing to the board? Just kind of tell us about what you're most excited about.
Okay, everything exciting for me, but the first attending of the SRS annual meeting was 2005. At that time, the SRS was held in Miami Beach. Soon after hurricane hit the city.
Oh, okay.
So it was so impressive for me, and since then I attend the annual meeting every year except for the last 2 years. But anyway, I learned a lot from SRS, and my experience as a career, I created a career with SRS. I feel sometimes like SRS lays me, so I think it's my turn to give back to SRS.
Awesome.
So, okay, and so I would like to spread the knowledge and concept of the spinal deformity of SRS to the world, especially to Asian country. That because I'm from Asian country, so I think by doing so, I can grow the future SRS young doctors. I can let them grow as a future star of SRS.
That's awesome.
And I hope the SRS will be the commonplace for all surgeons associated with spinal deformity all around the world, gather together, connect each other, not for the future treatment of the spinal deformity, but also for the friendship between us.
Excellent. Well, Dr. Watanabe, congratulations again. on you coming onto the board as Director at Large, and we look forward to seeing what you're going to do over this year.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm Ryan Fitzgerald from St. Petersburg, Florida. I'm here with Dr. Ron El-Hawary. We're at SRS 22. He is the Chief of Orthopedics in Nova Scotia, Canada. Thanks for joining me, Ron. Tell me a little bit about how you got here, your history with SRS.
Sure. Well, it's my pleasure to be here. Thank you very much, Ryan. You guys are doing a great job with the podcasts. I learned about SRS first when I was an orthopedic resident. It was mainly through their educational efforts and through some of their position statements they had on spinal cord monitoring, criteria for bracing, etc. It really appealed to my way of thinking, and I think it helped me approach how best to take care of young patients, especially with scoliosis, when to brace, when to operate. My dedication to SRS solidified through fellowship in that I had lots of great mentors in my fellowship program that were SRS members and some past presidents of SRS. And I learned more about the research, education, and advocacy of the society. Early in my career in Canada, I became a candidate member of SRS and quickly got scooped up into some committee work. And I was really impressed that they would ask candidate members, young surgeons in our careers, to take on some important roles and tasks within the committees. And that ultimately grew over time to become involved in more committees and to see what the far reach of SRS is. And now that it's more of a global organization, I feel that I can understand that the education and research that we do has a real impact internationally.
It really does. I think the mentorship and collaboration of this organization is really second to none.
Yeah.
At this point, you just entered a role as the Communications Council Chair.
Right.
And that's a new position, right?
Yeah.
Can you tell us a little bit about that council and what the goals are and what you see happening over the next year in that position?
Yeah, sure. You know, communication has become more and more important through the society over the last several years. There have been several committees related to communication over the years, including the website and the translation and patient education. In addition, 2 new committees have formed over the last few years, the Social Media Committee and the Podcast Committee. And what they found is that those committees were housed under the Finance Council, one of the 4 councils of SRS. And it ended up being a lot of work for the people in that council, and it wasn't just dedicated to communication. So the board of directors have approved the 5th council, which is communication, which houses all 5 of those committees. So now there's a focused group of individuals that are going to meet regularly with the committee chairs and with the council lead to really increase the effectiveness of communication both within SRS, so SRS members have a better idea of what's happening. The committees will be able to communicate more effectively with each other and with the board and with the presidential line, and of course to increase the communication capacity outside of the society. So now that we are branching out into social media, podcasts, we can reach not just SRS members, but also potential members for SRS, other health professionals that are not surgeons that are interested in spinal deformity. We can reach industry and we can reach patients. Those are the top tier audiences for the communications. We've started a task force this year, and our goal is to come up with a strategic vision, strategic plan for communications within SRS. And that'll be our goal over the next year, is to develop a roadmap for the next 5 to 10 years of what communication within SRS will look like.
Well, my first 2 years working in those different committees with you have been a pleasure. I really appreciate your guidance, and I think that that's a great point for everyone that wants to get involved with SRS, even as a candidate member. These are great areas where you can certainly join us. So thank you, Ron.
Thanks. You're welcome. Great.
The Scoliosis Research Society is a nonprofit professional organization made up of physicians and allied health personnel. Their primary focus is on providing continuing medical education for healthcare professionals and on funding and supporting research in spinal deformities. Please visit srs.org for further information.